second.
You're going to have to just do the artwork, eh?
Hello and welcome to the lobby. It is so good to see you. Sorry, we ran a couple minutes late there. We're just getting some final things in order here on this side, but we're up, we're running.
And that's fine, because it's Cape Town.
It's Cape Town. We're super chilled.
From Cape Town to the world.
That's the deal.
Exactly.
This is what the lobby is.
Exactly.
So good to see you. It's lovely to see guys chatting already in the comments. Nicolene, shout out to you.
What's up?
Natasha's in the house. So good. Claire Conway's in the house. So good to see you guys on Facebook. And we're ready to have a chat. We've just come through an amazing series, which has taken up a lot of our lobby or Word Wednesday conversation.
Can you believe it's finished?
It was the
Back to the future, end times.
It was the fastest / longest 6 weeks, if that makes sense.
No, but
Yeah,
I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go with it.
Fast in the way that the material, it kind of always felt like it had great conversation, but long because, we spent a lot of Word Wednesdays talking about it.
Yeah.
But it was good. I mean, the conversations and the questions, and I think Graham and Jenny wrapped it up so nicely on Sunday.
It was brilliant. It was so good. I enjoyed it. I mean, I had three services of asking them questions. By the end, I was like, I think that was a lot. That was good. It was good content. When we talk about fast, I was thinking about Fast and the Furious because I watched Fast and Furious 16 this past weekend.
Yeah. It's probably
what's it? Luke Shaw and Hobbs. What's it?
Luke Shaw.
No, Luke Shaw. No, that's the wrong one. Is it Shaw and Hobbs? I forget.
Hobbs,
Shaw and Hobbs. I'm like, that's so cool. I mean, clearly I'm Hobbs, but.
I mean, you didn't even have to mention that. That just goes without saying. No. You don't have to say it.
But the fact that series went so fast, so quick, and now we're looking to the new one soon after this Women's Day that's coming up on this weekend, Sunday.
So good.
I know something cool is happening this weekend. What is that?
Yeah, we are going to be celebrating Women on Women's Day, obviously, across all services. We've got some really dynamic services happening in the morning and a cool question and answer panel in the evening. But what's happening after church in the morning, particularly between 12 and 1 o'clock, we have got an hour, an hour, where you are welcome to, as the church, to pull up to the church building. We're going to be collecting some donations for the vulnerable right now. Some of these donations is maize meal. You can bring toiletries, and even on the list is some sweets, some chocolates, because everybody deserves a nice sweet or a nice treat. Just for that hour, you're welcome to pull in, drop those donations off. The staff team will be here. We'll have some other dream teamers here. We'll have some of our prayer team here. If you just want to come and say hello, please do that. Maybe you want some prayer. You're welcome to that this Sunday, just honoring Women's Day. We want to encourage people to come through. I think we all need live prayer every now and again.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be great just to connect with people. Yeah. And it's going to be 9th of August. If you're watching this after the 9th of August, that's not going to apply.
Yeah.
But this week, 9th of August. I think we say we're giving away free coffees to the ladies.
We are definitely doing that.
Free coffees to the ladies because it's Women's Day.
So good.
And that's a great time. So drive in, let us come through. It's going to be fantastic. And otherwise, how are you doing?
Yeah, good. We can't celebrate the woman enough. Let's put it that way. So we're going to give them coffee.
That's true.
No.
You know what I'm really hoping is that someone's going to say, you guys need proper boom arms for your mics.
I wish.
Hey, come on, just like proper podcasting boom arms, so we can do this hands-free.
We'll have so much. What are we going to do with our hands? We're going to have so much free. We
could build stuff. We could
build Lego
during
Word Wednesday.
Lego, building a church.
That's
Lego or origami. whichever.
People are thinking you guys have got way too much time.
Oh yeah, I wish.
to think about stuff like this. Anyway, so good to see Monique jumping in the comments. Whoop Women's Day coming up on Sunday. I know in the Marks household every Sunday or every day is Women's Day because Adam is such a good guy. But we're very excited for Women's Day, and we're excited for Word Wednesday to get stuck in today. As you guys know, if you've been joining us through Word Wednesday, even if you've been joining us on YouTube, big shout out to you as well.
Yeah.
If you've been joining us through Word Wednesday, we've basically used this opportunity to catch up and to connect, but also to speak about really what's happened in the past Sunday. Chat through messages, chat through content. We think it's always helpful. I mean, even if we're preparing and speaking the messages, to speak about and unpack it, you sometimes find that there's more from that, that you can take things deeper. So we have just come off an amazing series called Back to the Future, and we feel that Graham and Jenny did a pretty good job in wrapping it up on Sunday.
Expert.
That's probably an understatement. They killed it, and they wrapped it up so nicely. So what we want to speak about today really is just the idea of vision, and really having vision for one's life. We feel it's an important conversation. I think even in the midst of where we find ourselves in 2020 and how this year has gone, I think it's it's easy to lose vision and then to switch over into survival mode. If I can just get through today, or I think people are already, if I can just get through 2020, then I can start thinking and then I can start planning ahead. But we've realized, I mean, from a church context, how important vision is. And I mean, you've been leading this church for a good few years now. Maybe you can start us off. What does your vision journey be like? Are you someone who thinks easily into the future? Are you someone who more naturally likes to plan and get through day by day? Would love to maybe hear from that.
Absolutely. You know what? I think the thing is, I think even in a crisis, even though things are changing so fast, you know, we're in the middle of a crisis. You can't plan. We were thinking about, what are we going to do for Christmas this year? Oh, wait, we don't know, because we don't know what the regulations are going to be, where we're going to be as a nation, all that. So it's like, oh, but how can we ever plan to the future? And I think that's a very easy trap for us all to fall into and say, well, let's just get our head down for today and let's not worry about the future. The future is going to take care of itself. But Jesus said, don't worry about the future. He didn't say don't plan for the future. Right? And so I think we need to have a picture of an ideal destination that we can imagine in our mind's eye. That comes through prayer and all of that stuff. And that's probably helpful to even talk about how do we have a vision for the future. But because the problem is, if you lose hope for tomorrow, you find despair in today. So if you have no future for tomorrow, if you have no vision for tomorrow, what are you living for? You're just grinding through, and it's very easy to become so down and despairing.
Lights at the end of the tunnel.
No, it's the train. The train. So that's why I think vision is so important for us in this season. And to be honest, as someone who's been leading this church for a while, by the grace of God, we are always re-envisioning the future.
We are,
It's always, it's a moving target in the sense that we always want to get better, and it's something that God reveals in different seasons. And so I tend to be a futurist. I always think about the future. I always think about ideas. I always think about where we can go to. And I always have to say, God, like, let me just stay on your track here and not just run off my own track. So I'm very natural in that. I prefer thinking all about the future than I do about today. So what I always need, which I'm discovering only recently, is I need people around me who can grab hold of that and build today. Because I'm thinking about then.
It's so, you know, it's so funny that you would say that, because I would say I would kind of lie on the other end of the spectrum. I don't know, maybe if you're watching today and maybe you could agree with one of us. I don't think there's a right or a wrong. I just think that's where you're at, and then you've got areas to grow in. So for me, I would definitely be someone who focuses very much on what's in my hands right now, and I think try to do my best with it and try to do very well with it. But then often you're not thinking about, well, what's the potential of this thing? What could this thing look like in a year's time? In 18 months' time, in 2 years' time. Often, like, I've got to make it the best that I can make it right now. And then well, no, this could look completely different in 2 years if you could just put yourself into that space. So maybe I can pick your brain, and then you could pick my brain.
Absolutely. I think that's brilliant.
Let's try to learn from each other. How do you put yourself in that mindset? Because it sounds like it's something that actually comes quite naturally to you. Because for me, the struggle is if I'm not, I don't know what 2 years is going to look like. So maybe a more logical part of my brain is saying, hey, you don't even know if there's flying cars at that point, never mind what your ministry is going to look like, or your job, or your family. How do you find yourself flowing more naturally? And we're talking along the lines of vision here. How do you find yourself flowing along the lines of, you can put yourself in a space that's 2 years from now, or with that budget, or with the church at that size type thing?
That's a good question. I think maybe before we go there, it might be helpful for people to understand when we talk about vision. Like, it's not, as I've been reading a book lately on vision, it's not about you coming down the mountain like Moses did with stone tablets and like
face glowing.
And I've read other books, and vision is really, it's a preferred destination that you imagine in the future, right? So that, because what a vision does is it brings alignment to your life. It says, it helps you to put guardrails up. If I want to get there, I don't go there. So if I want to be healthier, I don't eat burgers every day. You know, but if I don't have a vision for my health, well, then burgers every day is good because it tastes great and it meets my immediate need. Or if I want to, be an engineer one day, well, the route to get there is to say no to maybe a few things here, and I need to say yes to math, I need to say yes to science, and I need to say yes to certain educations, you know. And so it limits our choices because we want to be focused into where we want to get, and nobody drifts to that point by accident. You don't accidentally become an astronaut. You know, it's an intentional focus. And so For me, I'm a dreamer. I always have been.
Yeah.
I actually think sometimes, in meetings, not just with team meetings, but even with like other people, I'm like, how can that idea not come to you? It's like, because sometimes your own strength you are blind to.
Yes.
You don't know that it's your strength on the team.
Yes.
And so you begin to think everybody else should act that way.
Yes.
And that's where a lot of tension and frustration comes in. Because
Yeah.
maybe for you, looking at someone who's thinking about 3 years down the road,
Yes.
you're like, yeah, but I need to know what I need to.
Yeah.
Give me the strategy for the next 3 months.
Yeah.
Just saying.
No, totally.
And there can be frustration there. So what I always like to do is I just like to think about what I want. What is it that God's put in me? What are the thoughts that I naturally have? And go to that. And I think if it's not natural for you, the best way to do it is to get a pen and paper.
Yes.
And actually just get
Very
alone
good. Yeah.
with a cup of coffee or a cup
Very
of
good.
tea, sit by the ocean,
Yeah.
and then just start writing down, where do I actually want to go with my life,
Yeah.
with my marriage, my finances, my family, my
Yes.
ministry, my business, my job, my career.
Yeah.
What would that look like in the future if I had to design it?
Yes.
And that's generally how I think about how I try to think about it.
I love what you said, and it actually makes me think of a quote that I think I heard at a wedding once, but I think it applies pretty well here. It says, small steps in the right direction lead to beautiful destinations. Awesome. And I think we try our best I think maybe we can envision the beautiful destination, but often it's putting those small steps in place. But I actually find it quite encouraging that it's not 3 or 4 big plays that get you to, if you get these 3 or 4 decisions right in life, if you pick the perfect university, the perfect spouse, and the perfect job, you're going to have a good life. Whereas with God, and even with building good habits in your life, it's small decisions every day that can help you get to that place.
Yeah.
And I think with visioneering, let's put it that way, I think it can be somewhat similar.
Yeah.
So like even for me, I want to try and win more of my days. I found that making my bed in the morning, and this is going to sound a little off topic, but making my bed in the morning gives me an early win.
Absolutely.
And then once I've won there, I feel like I'm actually winning at my day.
Yeah.
And then I can start tackling obstacles better. And it obviously speaks more into my personality when it comes to things like this. But to know and to be encouraged that, hey, if there's little things in my day that I can do well, little things that I can take control of, and decisions that I can make, I can get to a place where I've got a beautiful vision, or the vision that you've got for yourself. You can get to that place. It's not this dream. You're not Walt Disney dreaming of this thing. Everyone's calling you crazy. It's like, no, that's the vision for my life. And I know that making my bed every morning forms a big part of it. So for me personally, I think it would definitely come along the lines of focusing on today. And I want to do the best with what God has put in front of me right now. There's a scripture in Colossians that says, whatever my hand finds to do, do it to the glory of God.
Absolutely.
And I often find myself, especially maybe being a bit younger in ministry and starting quite young in ministry, I had a picture of what things would look like. But I think we both know that at 19, the picture that you've got is not often going to correlate to what your hands have got to do at that point. So for me, I've often prayed to God and say, God, help me with whatever I'm doing right now. Please help me to do this to the best of my ability, even if it doesn't necessarily look like or feel like the thing that I think I'm called to do, or that the vision of my life is. If the vision for my life is to be a CEO or whatever on the Forbes top 100, when you're at 20 or 30 or 35 or even at 40, you might not be there yet. How depressing would it be if the picture in front of me always needs to kind of align with the vision, but at a point it will. So for me personally, it's about, God, help me to be excellent with the things in front of me, and then when He can see that I can be trusted maybe with something small, He can maybe trust me with something bigger later on.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a season of faithfulness, but even that doesn't mean you stop dreaming about the future. You still, and the difference between a vision and a dream is that a vision has action steps. That's strategy. You're building towards something. When you have a dream, you never think you can quite accomplish it. And
Sorry,
this was Phil when
I'm
he
just
was.
finding my
We're
photo,
actually going. Wait, just back up. I think that's
a football player.
Oh no, I thought that was a photo of you, a selfie.
Oh no, not this time.
Sorry.
Let me find this photo first.
No, that's cool. But we're the difference between a vision and a dream is that a dream is something that you visit every now and then. A vision is something you align your life with. And so this applies into every area of life. If it's a vision to be more like Jesus, well, what are the action steps I need to take today to align myself to the vision of trying to be like Jesus? If I want to be a great businessman, what are the action steps I need to do today? And you were referencing making your bed in the morning. It's actually, I heard an admiral, I think it was, actually give a university speech about how the small win in the morning sets you up for the day. But that's the key thing about vision, is that I see a preferred destination and I work it back.
Yeah.
And okay, now I need to just do this part well today.
Yes.
Because if I don't do this part well, that just keeps getting further and further away.
Yes.
But if you're just stuck in here and you never look up to see what's in the future, you can very easily become discouraged.
Yeah.
And discouragement is a tool of the enemy. So vision helps you to break through obstacles.
Yes.
Right, where this is too difficult for me. Exactly. You're busy designing your future.
Good, yeah.
So I need to get through this obstacle. I need to learn what I need to learn. I need to grow as a person in these areas so that I can get to that preferred place.
Yes.
So it gives you sort of a fortitude to be able to break through those things. And so, but often when it comes to vision, you know, I heard a guy this week, Darius Daniels,
he's so
Dr.
good.
Darius Daniels, brilliant. I think just on a podcast, and he was saying, you know, you don't go as far as your dream, you go as far as your team. And for me, that was like, it was just a light bulb moment to say, you can have a great dream or a great vision for a future, but if key players in your life don't know what it is, you can't get there because we need each other.
Very good.
And so for me, one of the biggest struggles as someone who loves dreaming about the future and thinking about the future is that it all lives in my head. And I naturally think everyone else has the snapshot in my head, but they're not there. And so it is a development of communicating it, writing it down, which I'm working through now for our church. Just a new sort of thought process and picture of the future that everyone's clear on. But we need that for our personal life as well. And what I love is so different about you in the sense is not that you don't have a vision for the future. It's that you really want to take care of what's happening today. And maybe you can actually just share how your mind naturally goes to that place. Because I mean, I think we have conversations about the future and the vision, and you're often like, I'm still busy, you know, or like, so explain that too. Maybe have a mention about that.
Yeah, I think for me personally, as guys are jumping on, and please let us know if you're here and you're following kind of with what we're talking about. We're just talking vision. And just sorry, before I get onto that, I'd love to just speak into one of the things that you mentioned about team. I read a book once, and it's some of the greatest kings that you read about in history. They would surround themselves with experts in areas that they weren't experts in, and you can get advice and counsel. I think even with a topic like vision, to have people around you that might be better than you in certain areas, not to be intimidated by those people, but to use those people, which is definitely a journey I'm going on as well. I think personally for me, it's a journey of excellence. I think going out of high school, I think I was just more of a natural kind of boy's boy. I wanted to get stuff done. I had a level of excellence, but it always could have been better. And I think I went on a journey through good guidance, through good advice from leaders around me on just trying to take care of the thing that's in front of me and give it all. Because I think sometimes the trap I fell into is like, no, I think there's something else, there's something better. You know, this is the stepping stone and there's something else on the other side of this. So I'm just going to make sure this kind of just gets done. Like I pass it, it's a C+, but I'm not really going to give it my all. And I just found that personally with my journey with God, that as soon as I started giving even mediocre, even things that I didn't feel were very important, when I started giving those things everything, I felt like God started blessing other things more. So for my journey personally, I'm just like, God, whatever you're going to give me, I want to do it very well, even if it's not along the lines of my gifting. So even at this church, I'm doing things with production. I'm doing stuff which would be so far away from where I feel like I flow naturally. But as I've stepped in and dived in and tried to learn things and get better at things, I feel God has blessed stuff and made things better. And I think that's the lesson that we can learn, that even with vision, there's a now and there's a tomorrow, and it's to have that balance in check. And I'd love to maybe speak on behalf of somebody who's watching here, and we're getting some awesome comments here. Maybe speak on behalf of someone who's watching here who's saying that you know, I don't necessarily have a vision for my life. Maybe you could be in your 40s, your 30s, you could be a teen, you could be just leaving high school, and we're talking vision, we're talking future, but maybe there's someone who doesn't naturally think future or naturally think vision or job. It's just about maybe passing a degree or finding a job. How do you go about constructing something like that? How do you go about like because you want to does it have to be perfect? Like what would be the first steps here?
The first thing to know is that vision is always fuzzy. Because you're creating it.
Yes, that's good. That's very good.
You're seeing something that doesn't exist yet.
Yes.
And so vision actually lives in the realm of faith. That's where it lives. Because you're walking into something that is not certain.
Yes.
And so that's why it will often change as you move forward. It's almost like walking through a mist that's beginning to clear the more and more on this journey
More
you're
clarity,
going.
yeah.
It's the problem is if you've got too many different visions, you're always trying to find the one that's winning, but they're all misty right now.
Yeah.
The place that I learned about vision is if you go to Habakkuk chapter 2.
Very good.
Habakkuk is a prophet.
You're not,
Crazy
you're
name.
not swearing at the church right now? Is
Come
that a
on.
book in the Bible?
Yeah, I got other words. But, Habakkuk, he goes to the watchtower and really he's just saying he goes to this place of prayer to hear or to see what the Lord might say.
Yes.
Right? So it's going to a place of prayer and saying, God, I want a vision for my life. I want to see what you want to use me for. I want to see what do you want my family to look like? And what do you want my career to look like? And then the Lord tells Habakkuk and he gives him this vision, this picture, this on his imagination of what the future, of what prophecy to speak. And then he says to Habakkuk, now write them down so that other people may run with it.
Yeah.
So you've got to write it down. You've got to get alone with God, and you've got to get alone with a pen and paper and actually just write down what you see. It doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
You can continue to craft it as you go along.
Yeah.
And you put legs on it and you put detail into it. But you want to try describe it, what you see in the future, in a present tense. Like this is what I'm living in, because then it gives life to it.
Yeah.
Right. Excuse me. And that is what's going to keep. If you got that in front of you the whole time, and you need to review it, you need to look at it, because life comes up with so many distractions and so many other pressing obstacles and stuff. But it's so important, because even, I think it's in Proverbs where the writer of the Proverbs says, without vision, people perish.
Yeah.
Right? So it means that we lose all discipline.
Yeah.
And we go for what sounds good, what looks good.
Yes.
And I would encourage people to first and foremost have a vision for their relationship with Jesus.
Very good. Yeah, let's go there.
Because we've just come out of an end time series. If we're not thinking heaven, we're making earthly decisions every day of our life.
Yeah.
But if we're thinking heaven, if we've got a vision for following Jesus and who he's making us to become,
very good,
that we could become greater on the inside, that we can bless other people, we can follow we're not worthy, we're not perfect, but Jesus completes us and we can follow him. Yeah. Well, then I'm going to make decisions first and foremost that's for Jesus. And the byproduct of following Jesus is healthier relationships.
Very good. Very good. I love that. I love how you've let's do this. Let's maybe put them, I don't want to say we've got a subsection of vision, but I think it's important that you're saying we've got to have a vision for our relationship with God. Let's say you've got a vision for your academic life. If you want to get a certain type of mark in high school or at university or in your studies, sometimes the decision you're going to have to make is to say no to the friends on the late Friday night or the late Saturday night when there's studies to happen. Yeah. Or sometimes you're going to have to put more hours than other people are doing. I mean, there's a quote, and it's so corny. It's, if you want what other people don't have, you've got to do what other people aren't doing. Good. And what a good vision does is it provides a framework for you to make decisions that other people maybe aren't making. And it's not because they're bad people. It's maybe just because they don't have that vision for their life just yet to perform in a certain way. Maybe even with jobs and even in the workplace, it's I want to perform at a certain level, so I'm going to make decisions today. And I think the point here that's so powerful when it comes to creating a vision for any area of your life is that a good vision will kind of like direct you and navigate the decisions that you make, and it will help you. Yeah, it will help you make. So for us, we put so much pressure on ourselves as believers firstly, and then people who want to do well, is to make the right choices all the time. But often we don't have that guidance and that direction, and then we end up making the wrong choices or the choices we don't want to make. But if you've got if I'm aiming, and I'm just going to make a silly example here. Let's say you're a university student and you're saying, I'm aiming to get 5 distinctions or to cum my degree. There's some things that I'm going to need. Is going out tonight when I'm writing on Monday, is that going to take me a step closer to cumming my degree, or is it taking me a step further away?
Very good, yeah.
And if it's and if you can answer that simple question, it's probably taking me a step further away. That should probably help me make a decision closer to the vision. Doesn't mean it's the right or the wrong choice, but according to the vision that you've put in place, it's going to take you closer to that. Yeah. And I think that for guys like us, we're simple-minded folk.
Oh yeah.
We need
without a doubt.
We need to break things down for ourselves and to say, is it taking me closer to the person I want to be in 2 years or 3 years or 5 years, or is it taking me further away? And I think how you put it, this is the type of person I want to be in my relationship with God. This is the type of student I want to be. This is the type of father I want to be, or mother, or whatever the deal is. If you can line those up on pen and paper, have it in front of you.
Must be.
If it's on your cupboard, if it's something you've written on your mirror, if it's a scripture that you want to have in your life, to see it and to meditate on it, how powerful that becomes part of your life.
It does. No, I think, a lot of people dream of becoming an Olympic athlete, winning the Olympic gold, but nobody wins an Olympic medal on the couch.
Yeah, true.
Because of that vision, they start disciplining themselves to wake up at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. I'm not there. I'm not at 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. That's not me. I'm not going to become an Olympic athlete, but there are areas in my life that I want. So for instance, for our finances, my vision is that we have margin so we can grow in generosity.
Love that.
Right? That's our vision, right?
Very good.
For our family, it's to celebrate 50 years of wedding anniversary, and then when Samuel has a choice not to come home, he comes home anyway.
Yes.
When he's grown up, right? That's how we know we're going to succeed. And I think you can't have competing visions.
Yeah, that's good.
You need one that's the overarching one.
Yes.
And for us, it's honestly it's the vision of Jesus. It's the vision to become more like him.
And you find they all come under that banner.
They all come under that banner. So for me, I know what I'm not called to.
Yes.
I know that I'm not called to different areas of life.
And they could be good things.
They could be great things.
Yeah,
that they're distracting things.
That,
I think that's a really good insight that you got there, because, if someone says, hey, Sven, do you want to build a business? I'm sorry, I'm building the church.
Yes.
That's an amazing thing. I've always wanted to do that. But right now, this is the season of my life where I'm called to build the house of God.
Good, yeah.
And maybe one day if God calls me out of what I'm doing, it could be something different.
Yeah.
I'm not expecting it, but this is the picture that I've got in front of me. So like, Sven, shouldn't we try different revenue avenues? Probably, maybe at some point, but right now we're called to this.
Yes.
Those are good things, but this is the main thing.
Yeah, I love that.
But what did you mean? Like, what did you go through with distractions?
You know what? I think as a natural, I don't know if I can speak for anybody in the comments, but as a natural people pleaser, I say yes far more than I say no. And I end up disappointing far more people than I don't disappoint, because you want to just keep everybody happy. So this idea of saying no to good things is a struggle for me, because if it sounds good and the intentions are good and the motives are good, and if it works out, the outcome is good, I really want to be a part of it. But like you said, we've got to understand what we're called to and what we're not called to, because we need to put our focus on something. I think if we're going to split, you're saying we can't have split vision or competing vision. I don't think we can have split focus either.
Yeah.
I think if we're focusing 50% on this and 20% on that and 30% on that and 10% on something else, we're not going to give everything to that thing. And I love how you put it. You said we've got a vision for our lives that are in line with Jesus, and everything falls under that banner. You can give that 100% focus, and everything else can fall aligned with that. I think the challenge for us is to realize, what am I called to? There are going to be some good opportunities. There are going to be some good things. There are going to be some good people that come across your way that you're going to have to say no to.
Yeah.
Or you're going to say, well, not right now. Or that's not what I feel God is calling me to in this season, maybe in another one. Because I think we can say yes to a lot of things, and we can get involved with a lot of things, but actually not move the needle in anything.
Yeah.
Because we're not giving anything the full gifting and the full kind of strength and all the uniqueness that God has put inside of us as individuals. So I think a part of building a good vision is a part of learning to say no.
That's really good.
And if you struggle with pleasing people, it's a struggle. I'm there with you.
Yeah.
I'm there with you.
No is probably the most important word that we can learn.
Hardest word as well.
And it's tough. No, it's absolutely tough, because you want to also live life to the full.
Yeah.
You want to take it, but all those opportunities.
Yes, man. Jim Carrey.
Best movie ever. But there's two things I want to mention. Where vision's got to die. I'd love to mention that.
Yeah, let's go.
But also break it down quickly for us, how it relates to even wanting to be a disciple.
Yeah.
Because we're not in the industry of saying, okay, you just live your biggest life.
Yes.
We want you to live a massive life. We want you to live a God-glorifying life.
Yeah.
But we want you to be a disciple.
Yeah, big time.
And this is where vision is so important. If I have a vision to become more like Jesus, I yield myself to the kingdom way, to the kingdom culture. I say yes to kingdom, and I say no to other things that are good.
Yeah.
But they're not better.
Very good.
And so what it might look like, and this is not meant to condemn or anybody, it's just about get us out of our normal thinking patterns into something that's kingdom. So, for instance, going on a Sunday, going cycling is a good thing. But when it conflicts with worshiping with the church, it becomes a problem.
Yes.
Because your life isn't lining up to the vision. If it means that I have a vision to live a kingdom-minded life, it means I go and I do community with other people who are Christ followers. It means that I talk about what I'm reading in the scriptures. It talks about, like, I pray. Like, there are things that are good.
Very good, yeah.
But they're not getting me to the person I want to be.
Yes, yeah.
And so that's just for me as a church leader saying, like, you want a healthy marriage? Love Jesus more, honor your wife.
Yeah. Become more like Jesus. You'll be a better husband. You'll be a better wife when you become more like Jesus. I love what you said, and I think, I agree fully. And it's not about telling people that they can't mountain bike,
totally,
or they can't cycle, they can't go for runs. But if you've got a priority to become more as Christians, the goal is to become like Christ, little Christ. That's what Christian means. So if worshiping and praising and being with the church family is going to help me reach that goal, that should be a priority.
Totally.
I can cycle on another day. I can run on another day. And again, this is
or
not
cycle earlier.
Yeah, or cycle earlier. It's not a condemning thing.
And turn your cycling group into a small group.
Very good.
And talk about Jesus.
There's ways to leverage stuff.
Absolutely.
Very good. And there was something else you mentioned.
Yeah, where visions go to die.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd love to hear just...
As we close.
Yeah, as we close. Like, can you believe it? I'd love to even hear your opinion on different dreams that you've heard other people speak on, and how their visions have changed or they've given up on their vision. I don't know if there's anything like that.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think just briefly, I think one of the hardest things that I've had to do when it comes to vision is not to look around me as much as I'm kind of trying to look before me. What I mean in front of me. So what I mean by that is to look at other people who are in my stage of life. They're often doing very different things. And the vision that is spoken about there for a 24-year-old could be very different as to what's in front of me right now with regards to, let's say, building graduating, building a career, building a business, whatever. And what I've chosen and what I feel specifically called to, it's not a stab at what they're doing. What they're doing, if that's in line with God's will for their life, I flip and pray every blessing over them that they've got. For me, it's not to become discouraged in the vision that I feel God has called me to, because somebody else might be further along in their vision when it comes to a worldly sense. So where vision's got to die, I think I'm answering correctly, where vision's had to die in my life is comparison. It's looking around and saying, well, at 24, they've got a whole lot more than me, or they're doing a whole lot more, they're having a lot more fun, if I can put it that way. That part of me has had to die. That part of me has had to be like, well, I've got to have a laser focus on what I feel God is calling. It doesn't mean there isn't times for fun or isn't times to enjoy myself with friends and whatever the deal is. My vision and my story just looks different. So the decisions I make just looks different, compared like we mentioned earlier.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No, that's really good. I love how you've answered that, because there's two components to dying, vision dying.
Yeah.
One's a healthy one, one's an unhealthy one.
Yeah.
And even if for you guys, if you've got any questions about vision that we can take just before we close in a few minutes, please drop it into the comment section, or maybe you could tell us what your vision is if you feel like, hey, you feel like it's a safe place to answer that question. I think there's two things as it relates to vision dying, and this actually could have been a series. I didn't even think about that, but
we're uncovering gold mines here at Woodwinds.
I'm like, I need to hold on to that one. I need to remember that.
I'll write it down.
Is that from what you said, there are some parts of your vision have to die.
Yeah.
Where we've got a dream in our life, but we have to surrender it first before it can come to life, because God's into resurrections.
Yeah.
Right. So when you bury it in the ground and you say, God, I'm doing what you've called me to do versus what I would love to, that vision, it's to say, God, it's yours. I bury it in the ground. And what God does is that's the place where it gets fruit. It draws root, it grows, it starts bearing fruit, it gets everything it needs to get, because then God can say, okay, I can trust you with it because it's not about you.
Yeah.
Right. It's about him.
Yeah.
It's so that dream and that vision gets raised to life at the proper time.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mean you stop thinking about it. You just stop always living there and wanting to go there right now.
And dig it up.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you the same. Yeah. Dig it up too early. Exactly. I love
Very
that.
good.
I love that. Geez, you got to preach on that. So there's that aspect. And that happened for me in ministry. I had to bury it in the ground and say, God, if I'm never going to get that, that's okay. I want you. What you want. And out of that, he resurrected something.
Yeah.
So that's a healthy death.
Yeah.
An unhealthy death is when you share the vision too early with people that you shouldn't share it with.
Okay, yeah.
When you go and you say to someone, hey, I feel called to start a business, but that person knows you so well and they're a critical person, and they actually say, do you know who you are? Do you know what family you've come
Here's
from?
10 reasons why you can't start
exactly.
a business.
In this economic, are you mad? Are you crazy?
Yeah. Vision killers.
You know, or you have this vision for a family, and you've been single for the last 5 years, or those things begin to die, and you say, you know what, you're right, I can't go for that.
Yeah.
And what do you begin to do? You begin to limit your vision for what you think is possible.
Starts becoming smaller, yeah.
That's why vision lives in the realm of faith.
Yeah.
So if you think about Joseph,
things unseen, very good.
Joseph, he shared his vision with his family, probably way too early. What happened is they sent him into a pit.
Yeah.
You know,
that's rough. That's a rough family. Yeah.
So you want to share it with people who you can trust, who are for you.
Very good.
Not
Again, it comes around the idea of community. Who's in your circle? Who are you surrounding yourself with?
Yeah. And prayer is a place that you can build that vision before you begin to share it.
Yeah.
It has to be shared at some point.
Yeah.
But don't surrender if it's a yes or no word from God too early.
Yeah. Wow, that's very good. Jeepers, I think we've
I'm sorry.
We've stumbled onto something really good here. We have gone slightly over our time here, but just a huge shout out. Thank you so much for joining us. You know where we're going to be Wednesday at 12:30. We're going to be having conversations. We want to actually thank you for everybody that's joined us and that's participated.
Yeah.
If you're watching this at a later point, if you've got any questions about vision or you want to share maybe a bit of your vision with church family, you're more than welcome to do that. But it's been a huge pleasure for me personally.
Been good. Love it.
Yeah.
Could we give guys the next step?
Well, let's do it. Yeah.
What do you like? What would your next step be for people today?
Yeah.
After hearing this, and they don't have a vision for their life.
I love what you said. I think if you're here watching today and you're saying, well, I don't know what my next 2 years or 5 years, I align more with you than I do with someone who's got more vision. I would say try to spend a bit of time with God and make it as practical as possible. I think we take things and we say, you know, what could it look like? And why don't you grab a pencil that you hold, not visualize, and a piece of paper that's in front of you, and start thinking about it. What I love about God is that, and what we forget sometimes, is that God is actually the one who put the passions and the desires in your heart.
Good.
And I often find that my vision and the destiny that I really feel called to, I'm passionate about what I do. And I'm passionate about what my future could look like. So you might find that the things that God has made you passionate about might have a special role to play with the vision that God is calling you to. So in any time that you spend in prayer, maybe this week or tonight or 5 minutes, why don't you try to think ahead? Think about what your future could look like. Think about your ideal future. Think about what that could be. And start to write things down. Start to write maybe decisions down that you'd like to make. Start to write down plans that you might have, what the next 2 or 5 years could look like, and you'll find that it influences your decision making. Yeah.
Could I encourage people with one last word?
Do it, yeah.
You might be thinking, okay, well, what's the big deal about vision? Why is it so important for me? Well, think about this. You write that down. You think, oh man, this is pointless. Think about this. Joseph had a vision from God about people bowing down to him. He became the savior of an Israelite and Egyptian nation. Jesus had a vision for a whole stack of people in right relationship with God. That vision came to pass. Paul the apostle had a vision of planting churches throughout the known world. That vision came to pass, and we have most of the New Testament. Visions come to pass in time. The scripture says that faith and patience are like the power twins, right?
Very good.
So it's a long-term vision, right? Long-term vision. But if you stick to it and you pray and you're faithful and you take your steps, visions come to pass.
Dig that. That's an amazing encouragement. We really hope that you've enjoyed today. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to log out now, but we can't wait to see you. We've got a very special Sunday happening. We have got lead pastor Sven and Laura sharing in the morning together. It's going to be a powerful morning. And then we have got a question and answer interview panel with some young adults at the 5:30. It's a brilliant Sunday. You don't want to miss out. Plus, we're going to be celebrating women. We can't wait to see you. God bless you guys. Have a great rest of your week.